Okay, so now back to about the Sun Man problem, man. Um,
Y- Yeah. Well, yeah. So yeah. I just had to come on because something. It's like a recurring theme on this channel, and I really like. I just really feel compelled to speak up about it. You guys were just talking about Jordan Neely and the subways and stuff like that. Well, like that conservative host that you just had that you just played, I just want to say fuck that guy because what conservatives do, and this really grinds my gears, is that they scapegoat the poor and the disabled people, um, because they're too afraid to say who's really causing all the violence. So it's like
Facts.
so basically, the reason why I don't like people like him is because see if he be president or like if Trump would be reelected, what would happen is that harmless disabled people and marginalized people would just get bullied and further marginalized, whereas they would still be giving the Sun Man, special treatment and free stuff, and nothing would change.
okay, so can I ask you what Democratic stronghold do you live in?
Well, I was born and raised in Connecticut, but right now I'm in Albany, Georgia.
Oh, okay, so you down in the South? You down there?
Yeah,
Did
it's
you
cheaper
come to
down
know
there
the
now.
Sun Man, or did you know the Sun Man from the get go?
Huh?
Did you come to know the perils of the Sun Man, or did you were you born into it?
Oh, well, it's funny because I was born in Norwalk, which is it's a pretty glider
That's what I
area in the
figured.
CT. Yeah, but I also lived in like Derby and Bridgeport, so those are pretty pretty sketchy. So it's like I've had both experiences.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Well, here's for you. You might be happy about this in your town of Albany, man.
yeah.
And good Friday afternoon to you, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Heath Sands. A new study shows that 86% of school age kids are dealing with some sort of emotional stress. WALB News 10's Riley Armont shares what the Dougherty
Hmm.
County school system is doing now to help them during Mental Health Awareness Month.
Over the course of the next 5 years, $50 million will be fed into the Dougherty County school system to provide behavioral and mental health resources to students
Um,
and staff.
you know, stuff like that. I'm I'm generally against stuff like that because I don't like I'm against the whole psychiatric industry to begin with. So I kind of don't believe in mental illness or what you would call mental illness. So I believe this approach, while it's good intentioned, it's kind of wrong-headed.
Okay, now here's my thing: $53 million into this little teeny fucking podunk town for this one thing, and it's really not gonna fucking do a fucking lick of fucking good.
They got a Safe Streets Albany chapter.
Yeah, this is not gonna do a fucking lick of good.
Yeah, no,
That's fifty
I
three
I
million
agree
dollars
with you,
down the
man.
fucking drain, man. You fucking Democrats, man.
No, I agree with you. See, just for just so you know, like I don't support the current Democrats either. Like because they're in the pocket of big business too. So it's like I just call myself liberal because that's what that's the closest. I mean, that's the best way I can sum up my ideology. But yeah, I totally hear you, man. Like this won't change anything because it's not addressing the root causes.
Right. Okay. So yeah, your little town, they got $53 to spend on that shit. That's crazy. Let's see what else is going on in this.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so
Be a good time if you go look in your cupboard. If you got an extra can of peas or beans or a box of instant rice, consider donating them to the Second Harvest Food Bank.
Now, they're in need of donations since food prices have skyrocketed. WALB's Mackenzie Petrie tells us how one campaign will help
Yeah,
families in
I
need.
do support this.
For the past 3 decades, letter carrier leaders nationwide have hosted Stamp Out Hunger, a campaign that helps out millions of people in all 50 states.
People think that the greatest amount of need is at the holidays, but
hey, I'm gonna need you to do two things, man. Mute yourself when you're not talking, and try to like you breathing kind of heavy, man. I
Oh,
don't know.
sorry, man. Sorry.
You get into your elliptical. You on your elliptical or something? What are you? But you gotta you gotta just take care of that for me, please, man. Thank you, man.
Oh, yes.
not
Sorry,
when
man.
it's summertime when families are having to stretch their budgets that much further because children don't have access to school meals anymore.
Second Harvest is hoping this event stocks their shelves and helps them meet their summertime demand.
People can call when they need food and we will donate it to them. But when we come out here now, there's not as nearly as much products that we used to deliver to them. People, please donate, stores and even farms so that we can help our community.
Second Harvest of South Georgia says
All
last
right.
year's event collected nearly 70,000 pounds of non-perishable foods, something they say they need help from the community to do again.
Yeah, okay, and listen, man. I think this is great. I don't have a problem with this. I don't have a problem with giving to the needy and less fortunate and whatnot. However, this shit they have way more of this shit where they're poor black people than they do where it's poor white people. Way more of this shit. These programs and all this free stuff. Look at this shit they got, man. Listen, man. Soap, deodorant, that shit costs a lot of Target, man. This fucking salad dressing and shit, man. Yeah, man, this is good shit. These giving these people away for free, man. Bags of groceries. That shit's cool, man. These people get a lot. How do you square the fact that black people constantly complain, constantly call white people racist, constantly call the nation as a whole just irredeemably racist and against them, and yet all we do is give them free stuff?
Yeah, gliders are trying to stamp out hunger, and some men are trying to stomp on their heads.
How do you square that, liberal?
Yeah, no, like you're absolutely right about that. Because as I said, I do acknowledge, and I'm aware of the some man problem. This whole.
How do you square them? The fact that they bitch and moan and talk cash shit and denigrate the entire country, the system, and gliders as a race, meanwhile sucking at the teat like a fucking day-old goat baby and shit.
Well, that's the whole, that's the media and the indoctrination of telling them to hate white people, and that white people are bad.
Blaming on someone else other than them. That's why I keep asking you, what do you think about them doing that? Like, because it's like you're not seeing some people. You're looking. You're seeing some people kind of like a tree or a lamppost or a fucking fire hydrant. What do you think about sun
That's how
people?
you'll see us, to be fair.
Exactly. But what do you think about sun people doing what I just said? What do you think about sun people doing that? Not about the fucking media and shit and fucking all that other shit. What do you think about sun people doing that shit?
Well, I think it's wrong. I don't like it.
I agree with that.
I mean, that's all I can say really about that. I don't
It's
like
annoying, you know? It's annoying to
Yeah.
have to fucking sit here and be bombarded all day long with fucking like white people do all this shit and they get every benefit in society. We gotta sit here like martyrs and we never do nothing wrong, and every son man gotta tiptoe around because the hand of white supremacy is gonna smack him down if he step out of line. So yes, boss, yes, master, I got, you know, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I am. And no, yeah, I
Meanwhile,
totally
like
hear you. I agree with
you
that.
know, your aunt who's been fucking like beat half to death by a son man in the street recently. Not me personally, but just hypothetically speaking.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
here we
yeah.
go.
Well, first responders from several different Georgia counties gathered for a hands-on training in Valdosta today.
WLB News 10's Mackenzie Petrie reports about how this training will benefit the departments and all the communities that they serve.
Today, firefighters, police officers, and their canines practice a mock investigation of a residential structure fire.
It's a good networking for other investigators throughout the state of Georgia to get together and bounce ideas off of and to learn from each other. It's one of the first ones we've had in Valdosta. We reached out to anybody in the state of Georgia, and we've got some more that's going to be coming up, and we'll reach out to anybody who wants to come and get the training hours and to sharpen their skills.
There were two scenarios. One was an accidental fire and the other was an intentional fire. In this video, you can see the canine and his handler training. You will see the dog alert the handler when he has found the fire source.
It's invaluable to get hands-on, realistic training as much as possible with an acquired structure.
And they could be eligible.
Look at these gliders training and shit to be better at their fucking jobs, man. This shit is cool, man. Let's see what else is going on, man.
Several leaders in Georgia came together to help educate people about development across the Peach State, what direction the state is going when it comes to the economy and the workforce demographics. WLB News 10's Mackenzie Petrie provides an overview on those trends.
Organizations across Lowndes County came together today to take a peek into the future of.
Look at all these fucking gliders in there. Where are the fucking sun people, man? Where are the sun people at?
Today to take a peek into the future of what the Peach State's workforce.
Yeah, see that. That's why.
Workforce development.
That's why I do always say that we could have a liberal society, but it would have to be either majority white or all white, or at least run by white people.
Are important in any part of Georgia, because quite frankly, if you want economic prosperity, then you're going to have to make sure that our young men and women are prepared for the jobs of the future. It's probably more critical in rural Georgia, where we have lower labor participation rates, but more open jobs.
Clark says that if 25,000 jobs are created each year, and if 400,000 more employees are employed within the next 10 years, Georgia.
See, look, white people attacking real issues, and some people is protesting because some goddamn fucking homeless guy fucking got killed or some shit, or some fucking goddamn Pookie got shot by a cop or some shit.
They got some glider gremlins down here, though. Look at this.
Yeah, look at this.
And we thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Heath Sands.
And I'm Jim Wallace. New information today about that deadly shooting of 30-year-old Antoine Penn.
Oh, wait,
March
this sounds
18th,
like a sun man.
With his newlywed wife, Courtney, driving on Cleveland Street in Albany when they were both shot in a case of mistaken identity.
Mistaken identity, man. Son man and his wife were both shot in a case of mistaken identity while they was driving down the street, man. This son shit, man. Look at those photos. That's beautiful, beautiful wedding photos, man. Midlife Reset says if you are not a liberal by the time you are 20, there's something wrong with your heart. If you are not a conservative by the time you are 30, there's something wrong with your head. Facts. The older you get, the more conservative you should get, man. Because
I guess I was always heartless.
Liberal is some dumb shit. Yeah, you're an anomaly, man. Liberal is some dumb shit, man. Liberal is some young and dumb shit.
Well, I mean, I think conservatives is even dumber, because what conservatives do is they basically just blame the poor and the disabled for their own problems, while at the same time they want to give tax breaks to billionaires. I mean, I don't think that's a good thing either. I mean, even if we just had an all-white society, I mean, because if you remember in the past, I mean, white people treated each other really badly under like conservative and traditionalist systems. I mean,
monarchies. You talking about monarchies? Yeah, definitely. Listen, I'm not. When I talk about conservative, we have a lot of socialism woven into America. So let's not act like we're.
I kind of agree with your earlier statement. Like, if we were a little glider, homogeneous glider country of 25 million, like Denmark or something, that didn't have to shoulder the budget of a worldwide national defense budget and all this other shit that we have to deal with, that it wasn't dealing with massive race issues and all that, then we could maybe do like a liberal glider society where
like look at
things
Norway,
like
man.
that.
Yeah,
but it's just we can't have that here, really.
It's not because we are. It's not that we don't. As a conservative myself, I'm not afraid to say that poor people have a lot of responsibility that they need to show themselves. A lot of them are responsible for themselves as to why they're poor. That's
so true, man. Like, I mean, like, listen, man. When you talk about Sun people, man, a lot of Sun people I know who live in like the projects. The reason they live in the projects is because their mother filled out a bunch of applications for apartments, and the ones that called back were in the fucking projects. So she moved to the projects, and now the kids from the fucking projects. Like, it's not like some big white man thing. And then the mom, like, she may have dropped out of high school. Now, why'd she drop out of high school? Because she got pregnant, right? Well, why'd she get pregnant? Because she was fucking in high school.
She got pregnant at 15,
Yeah, well, why she get pregnant when she was fucking? Because she didn't use birth control. And well, why's the father not there? Because he's 15 too, or he's 18 too. He's not gonna put a fucking 18-year-old kid. Guy's not gonna be around, man. Especially a son, man. So it's like a series of decisions lead to this fucking Pookie that's fucking dragging you out of your car and fucking pistol whipping you and driving off laughing, man. It's a series of decisions that led to that.
Pro-white liberal, I don't know how long you've been watching Ak. I mean, that's really the core of this channel is like, there's poor people and disenfranchised of all groups, but like who's out here like murking people in public on a regular basis? Like, it's only one group of poor disenfranchised people, and whatever you want to call them, right? I mean, it's not like.
Touch on that. Can you just speak on that? Can you speak on that? The fact that all poor people don't do this shit, but one group of poor people need to do this.
Of course, I agree with you that not all poor people are blameless, but I mean, this is okay. I know it's kind of anecdotal, but like just from my because I have personal experience with this. I have been, like, I have some health issues. I was born with them. It was like, it does make my life difficult. And, it's like when I got fired from my job. Huh?
I said, now I feel bad for telling you about your breathing, man.
Oh, yeah. So stuff like that. It's like, like a perfectly healthy guy would like tell me, oh, you're just being lazy, when it's like I'm literally like suffocating to death, because I can't breathe. And it's like he's like, oh, why don't you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps? It's like, I like to see him deal with what I deal with, or what other people deal with, because there are people who have legit health issues, and they,
why would you assume that he doesn't know? Or maybe he doesn't know. He's just going off of what he sees. Just going off what he sees.
None of us knew.
On the surface. What was that?
Huh?
I said none of us knew, although we're not with him personally.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't automatically assume that, you just didn't talk well. I was just listening.
Well, I mean that's I'm just saying
even you jump to a conclusion about conservatives.
Well, I mean, because it's just what I hear. Like I hear this. It's like this on repeat. You know, like poor people are just lazy. You can overcome any adversity.
A lot of them are.
Huh?
A lot of them generally are lazier.
Well, okay, like I don't know every poor person out there, obviously. So, yes, and maybe
neither do I. That's why neither do I. That's why I said, generally speaking, poor people tend to be lazier.
Yeah, and here's the thing though, like the fact that you have some kind of ailment or whatever, or you were born with some type of way, that is an aberration, man. It's kind of like I always tell the story about the guy who worked at Home Depot. I mean, not worked there. He was a contractor. He would come to Home Depot. He had one arm. He would never let anybody help him. On Brito guy would never let anybody. And he was picking up drywall and fucking sheetrock and fucking 2x4s and 4x4s, and he would never let you help him. He always had a certain kind of like method of getting him into the cart that he could do it by himself. He would take one side and go around the other side and drop it in the cart. He had a method where he compensated for only having one arm, and that guy he would never let me. He only let me help him once. He was in a rush one day, and I was like, I was shocked because we were laughing about it, but it's like he would come Home Depot every day in the lumber department, in the building materials department with one arm. It would never let anybody help him. He wouldn't let you help him. So like this whole notion that and furthermore, he was the only guy we had in there with one arm. He was the only customer with one arm. But it's not normal most people have two arms. Most people don't have the breathing condition you have. Most people are what you would call normal. So the fact that if you have an abnormality or you have an issue that may cause you to not be able to like operate at full capacity, through the course of your life, you would have found a way to compensate for that. And you would have become better in other ways. You would have become more adept in other aspects of your life to overcompensate for that. And this is a jungle. If it was not America, you would be dead. All those treatments you probably got, all those surgeries you probably had when you were a kid, if it wasn't for Glider Society or the fucking America, your ass would be probably dead. Could you say that?
Yeah, I can say that.
1842, would you be alive if you were born in 1842?
No, but see, in 1842, it was actually more like what you guys want. You know, it was more of this kind of society that you guys want, where it's like, you know, no programs, no assistance, like dog world. I mean, yeah.
The Radium Girls had a good comparison.
But then why did the Republicans abolish slavery then if that was how they wanted it? You couldn't find a fucking job because the slaves were doing all the fucking jobs. That ruined the economy. Slavery ruined the economy. It was not good back then.
And it's not that conservatives don't want programs. We don't want government funded programs. For the most part, we don't want programs that are especially tailored to one small segment of the population. Either have to be for everybody or for none. As far as for special groups, it's best left off to local solution or families and friends. Which is what naturally would occur if there weren't money being dumped into programs that are just basically money pits. They don't improve anything. If anything, they make things worse because it gives people free stuff and tells them they can't come up with their own solutions. They need to keep relying on this third party to do.
I'm sorry, but let me interrupt you there. See, this is the other part of the problem. It's that people don't allow poor people to fix their own problems because, like, okay, here in America, I'm not an expert, but in most states, you can't just buy a plot of land and put a tiny home on it or a mobile home. You know, there's all this laws pertaining to, building codes and zoning. It's like you can't start business without license. It's like, if you, like, I always say, if you want to take away my food stamps, fine, but then don't tell me, where to live or how to live.
Hold on, my man. Let me stop you. They're now letting people set up tent encampments everywhere, and those places are turning into fucking cesspools. So they do let you fucking set up your fucking tent anywhere you want now in these liberal cities. And those places are crime-ridden, shitty, fucking needle-infested fucking cesspools. Because those people who live like that, they live like that for a reason. Because they're usually antisocial, degenerate, misfits, fucking vagrants, transients, oddballs, losers, people that just want to live that type of lifestyle willingly, that may not be any of those other things. They just choose the free outdoor lifestyle. But those people are not people that are needing a fucking business license, or like this fucking block is zoned for residential and this block is zoned for fucking business is fucking holding them back. The fucking shit that's holding them back doesn't even get to that fucking level. The shit that holds them back is on a base level, elbow grease, stick-to-itiveness, hard work and shit like that. You're making it seem like all these grand things are holding them back. Those people are held back on the basis of levels. Let me read this super chat. Radmu Entertainment says, typical liberal thinking. We don't have the ability to come up with a cogent thought or belief on our own. Sure, the media peddles emotional cookies, but we got the victimology game in the bag. Thanks. Yeah, black folk have mastered the victimology game because that's something that we're good at. We're good at fucking pimping you gliders. And that's what we do. If we were good at something else, we would do that. People do what they're good at. When you see a group and they're not doing something, that's a red flag right there, man. You think, look at the fucking NFL and the NBA. Black people are good at those things, man. Look at fucking every business in the black community. Black people aren't good at those things. People do what they're good at. You can't fucking systematically stop people from doing anything that they're good at, especially a population. You can stop one person. You could stop this guy. I could stop you, you know what I'm saying, individual, but I can't stop your whole population of people from doing something that they're good at, because it's just going to be, look at the Juice Crew. Look at the Juice Crew. They do the same thing everywhere they go. They're good at that. Look at every fucking 1,600 on the SATs. If you got 11600 scores on the SAT, 95 of them are fucking East Asians. Why aren't other groups scoring 1,600 on the SATs? Because they can't. So those fucking homeless people, those poor people you're caping for, they can't.
Well, even if what you say is true, I wouldn't have a problem with them as long as they're not violent. Like that's my line in the sand. Like as long as you don't touch me or threaten me, I don't have a problem with you living in a tent or even public urination or things like that. As long as what I'm saying is that's what cities should focus on, to arrest.
I gotta stop you at public urination because
yeah,
that's another
yeah.
reason that Chicago fucking trains are horrible. You get in the elevator and there's like fucking reeking pools of piss in there and piss all over the fucking, like, there has to be standards in society, I think anyway, that or else it turns into shit like Africa where people just piss and shit, or in India, like people should be. There should be consequences for fucking pissing on the side of a building in public. Like, you shouldn't be able to do that shit. That has nothing to do with being poor or rich. It has everything to do with being fucking like low class individual.
Yeah, you know how many times I've pissed on the side of a building, and I've never been poor. I piss on the side of buildings all the time. I've never been poor.
Keep in mind, peeing on stuff is actually destructive to that surface.
Maybe if you're like doing it against the tree and the park and the grass, but like, come on.
Yeah, but if every poor person just constantly kept peeing on things that was structurally built, a lot of stuff would just get destroyed because that stuff is corrosive.
Well,
so
yeah, I mean,
so you can't just allow people to pee and especially shit on stuff that on actual structures.
Yeah, listen, man,
because it'll collapsing in the future.
Let me move on. I want to get into some of this crime talk because this is basically what we focus on here, man.
All right.
And we thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Heath Sands.
And I'm Jim Wallace. New information today about that deadly shooting of 30-year-old Antoine Penn. March 18th, Penn was with his newlywed wife, Courtney, driving on Cleveland Street in Albany when they were both shot in a case of mistaken identity.
As WALB News 10's Gabrielle Tate reports, police believe the teen suspects had been enticed into a world of crime.
In this exact spot back in March when 30-year-old Antoine Penn and his wife, 32-year-old Courtney Duncan, were shot in what police are now calling a gang-related ambush. It happened on the 1100 block of South Cleveland. Antoine was killed in the shooting. His wife was shot in the head but survived.
We soon realized that it was some type of gang.
Look at this police force. My God, you live in this town? This is where you live, dude?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. You got to get out of here, man.
Yeah, I kind of covered the cops before, and they're pretty thugged out.
Yo, you got to get out of here, man. You need to move to
you
need to be around your people, man. This is a ticking time bomb for you. I'm trying to say because your mind works different. These people are fine. Trust me, they're going to be fine. But you're not going to be fine here because you have different sensibilities.
I mean, I'd love to move back to
You came from Connecticut to this?
Yeah. Hey, it's it goes back to our previous conversation. It's the finances, man. I mean, I don't have $200,000 in the bank to.
Fair enough.
Were you looking for diversity or something?
Cheaper place to live. It sounds like, and I can understand why people might not, be able to get a high price around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's my thing though. Like, yo, this area right here, you got people getting shot, mistaken identity. You're down there. I'm sure you've been a victim of some kind of property crime at least, right?
No, actually it's funny. I was telling my mom this the other day that the Sunmen down here are actually nicer than the ones up in Bridgeport or New Haven. That's what I noticed.
Yeah, country boys. I got you. Let me read this. Weather says you can't have any society, especially not a liberal one, so long as leftist glider women are allowed to operate the way they do currently. They run interference for sons in many ways. What do you think about liberal glider women, man?
Yeah, I agree with him on that.
CA says in 1800s, slave owners were required by law to provide health care, clothing, shelter, food for their slaves, and all the way through their death, regardless of if they could work or not. Yeah, I mean, slavery was a horrible institution, but at the same time, you would rather be a slave in a glider country than under. Definitely not the Sandman. Definitely not the East Asian.
Yeah, at least the glider gonna let you keep your balls.
Yeah, because they're gonna cut everything off when you go to all other places. And you just, because it's shrewder. I mean, gliders are dumb. Why would you let your slave keep that? I mean, like you're around my kids and my daughter. Why would I it's actually stupid to let the slave keep that. Somebody you have ownership over, a man you have ownership over, who works for a living. He's strong. He's working for a living. He's around your family. It's your property. Why would you let him keep that? It's actually those other races were actually a lot smarter than gliders. But gliders have that damn empathy, that altruism. So let's see. Boycott China says Peter Buttigieg about to rename NY Subway the Tunnel Floor. Yeah, man.
Yo, I can't unhear Boy Kachina though. Salute,
Yeah,
shout out
man.
to Boy Kachina, bro.
Yeah, y'all let me say that for like a year or 2 years, man. Y'all ain't shit, man.
His wife was shot in the head but survived.
We soon realized that it was some type of gang type issue involving the Penns. They weren't involved in a gang. They were actually innocent bystanders coming from a family gathering and just got caught up in a crossfire.
18-year-old Necky Parks, 17-year-old Montrez Nix, 15-year-old Brian Massey Jr., and 15-year-old Nicholas Collier were all arrested in connection to the shooting. Two brothers, 20-year-old Zadrian Thomas and 22-year-old Donelius Thomas, were also arrested.
It's Adrian and Donelius.
Incident that happened probably about 30 minutes to an hour before that, where one of the gang members, family members' house had been shot up, and they
Oh God, one of the gang members' family house got shot up. This was retaliation for a shooting that had just happened. And this lovely couple gets caught in a fucking crossfire. They had nothing to fucking do with it at all. They're fucking. And how many times has this happened in Glider Stand this year? I'm not talking about mass shootings. I'm talking about a fucking targeted shooting over something, not a fucking manifesto. A targeted shooting in response or in revenge or reprisal or retribution for some offense, and a fucking completely innocent couple gets caught in the crossfire. How many times has that happened in Glider Stand this year? Not once, probably. It probably hasn't happened once, that situation.
Gonna go ahead with a no. Over some shit that got said on Instagram? Probably not.
Anything. A group of glidermen for any reason, some kind of offense, go to avenge that offense, and shoot at some rival glidermen in public and hit a couple in the crossfire. How many times has this happened in the 200 million gliders in this country? How many times has it happened this year? I bet that hasn't happened once. That situation.
I promise you, there's no glider man in this country that's gonna go somewhere, blam up 4 fucking people in public, and then just there's no suspects, gunman unknown. Like that shit's not happening, bro. It's not gonna happen.
Gliders, yes, we've had a few gliders, a few too. Gliders shoot up some shit this year on some mass shooting shit. We've had a few gliders. We had a lot of shit.
Nobody's dying in the commission of like gliders, a glider moment,
Yeah, exactly. We've had a lot of gliders kill their wives, kill their families. We had a lot of gliders do shit like that. But this type of thing where it's like avenging trespasses and shit. You trespassed me, you offended me, so I'm gonna come shoot. We're gonna get in the car, 4 or 5 of us, and we're gonna come just spray bullets in your direction for a specific reason. Shit doesn't happen, man.
Shot in a case of mistaken.
Arrested in connection to the shooting. Two brothers, 20-year-old Zadrian Thomas and 22-year-old Donelius Thomas, were also arrested.
There was a previous incident that happened probably about 30 minutes to an hour before that, where one of the gang members, family members' house had been shot up, and they were going out looking for those perpetrators. In the process, Mr. Penn and Miss Penn were coming from, like I said, a family function. They mistaken their vehicles for some suspect vehicles and ended up shooting them.
All 6 suspects are being charged with murder and gang charges, among other charges.
This particular gang, we've been investigating the gang unit. When I say we have made contact with several of them during different cases, whether regardless if it's motor vehicle thefts, Enredados happened out.
Albany has a gang unit.
Every single little sun town requires a gang unit.
That little fucking, think about how much money that costs. I wish we could look on the city budget and see what's the price tag on this fucking gang unit for this fucking town. Because you're spending $53 million just to fucking have fucking counselors talk to Sun teens about, their fucking problems and shit. How much does this cost? It probably costs twice that.
Yeah, it's probably a good deal.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I'm done.
Yeah, you got to maintain like a whole team of homicide investigators for a town of 70,000 people.
Right. What the fuck? Shit is insane, man. And these people are probably protested. They probably had a huge protest for George Floyd. They probably had a huge protest for Rashard Brooks. While they're down here sucking off these white people's teeth. Look at this shit.
I'm joined now by Bishop Victor Powell. He's one of the co-founders of Stop the Violence in Albany. And also, man, he's been working with this kind of subject for decades now. I know, Victor, it's in the headlines and on everybody's TV about shootings and people dying and everything. How can the common person, how do you handle seeing this kind of trauma?
Trauma is very real. And I think this is a subject that's evolving even the more when you think in terms of COVID-19, and now we're talking about
Jesus Christ. Are you serious? Yo, this could be Baltimore. Somebody said St. Louis. This could be St. Louis. This little fucking podunk town has the exact same issues per capita. Think about it. All this is a section of St. Louis with 70. If you could carve a section of St. Louis that has 70,000 people and carve that out with 70,000 black people, you can take a section of Baltimore and just carve out like a ward or a district or a neighborhood with 70,000 people. That's all this place is. It's just a piece of a larger Sun City if you took 70,000 of its residents and isolated them. The same fucking thing everywhere. How do you square that, pro-white liberal? The same thing everywhere. Everywhere.
Well, it's an unfortunate pattern that we have to recognize and admit to. But I'm not debating about that. I just think well, you say there's no solutions, but I would say we could start with actually arresting violent people and keeping them in jail.
Okay, I can job with that.
Continuing with all of the mass shooting.
Go ahead.
And targeting drugs and gangs. Like, see, that's something
Stop and frisk.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
Number one, we have to acknowledge that we have been traumatized. I think that's the reality that's happening more now, is that we're beginning to acknowledge that trauma is real, even if it's not war. Trauma is real. To experience death like we're experiencing COVID, mass shootings, we need to acknowledge the fact that we are traumatized, that we are affected by it. Because, Jim, what happens, and many people in your audience will attest to this, that often we don't realize we've been traumatized by an event until sometimes weeks, months, sometimes years later.
You think all them crosses are for COVID or for gun violence?
Yeah, man, this is this town is experiencing the same shit as every other fucking Sun place. It's the same fucking thing everywhere you fucking go.
A South Georgia restaurant is still trying to recover.
Go ahead.
It's why they keep mentioning COVID. the radio station that gets played at my job, 103.1. The host is Ricky Smiley and D.L. Hughley. They always are playing ads that promote mask wearing. They keep pushing that kind of that stuff as an excuse.
Yeah, listen, man.
Constantly.
Don't be surprised if they bring it back because it worked last time to get to help kind of like weaken the Republicans. So don't be surprised if they come up with another pandemic, another variant of COVID, and try to like roll it out with if Trump wins. Now, if Trump loses, you won't hear shit about COVID. But if Trump wins, you're going to hear about some variant.
A South Georgia restaurant is still trying to recover from a large Cinco de Mayo brawl that happened inside the business.
Now, the owner of that Tifton restaurant wants to clean up its image as well. He spoke with WLB News 10's Alicia Lewis about what happened that night.
A night of celebration turned into a night of fighting, drink throwing, and destruction at Don Julio's Mexican restaurant in Tifton.
Look how some people acted during Cinco de Mayo. All the violent stories we covered were some people. Remember the Irish parade from like a month ago? What was that Irish festival? St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day.
All the violence on St. Patrick's Day was some people. All the violence of Cinco de Mayo was some people.
The Cinco de Mayo is all being done by personas des negras.
Crazy, man.
We were kind of serving other customers. We had a full house. We were just shocked. We were shocked because we didn't know why did it happen like that?
Well, according to law enforcement, no injuries were reported. The owner says a party of about 20 to 30 people seemed to be having a great time, just eating and drinking until an altercation between two girls broke out. Now, this boarded up door that you see here behind me is a product of some of what happened that night.
It became clear that it was getting out of control. We came to check out on them. They're like pushing each other. Yeah,
sister hitting him like bam
were,
bam,
throwing food at each other, and it was just out of control. And we were at a full house taking care of other customers. It was kind of hard to have attention to every single detail that was happening around.
Martinez says they lost hundreds of dollars because of the people who were a part of the fight ran off on their food and drink tabs. I spoke with the
sons.
Everybody ran off on it.
Y'all do the fucking restaurant business dirty, bro.
You understand how much this infuriates me?
Yeah, this is fucking embarrassing.
I'm sure you don't, Mossy.
If you're not embarrassed by this, then you might be in too deep, man. And that's why this channel is so good, because it's a place for people who are embarrassed by this, because a lot of some people are not embarrassed by this. And there's no way you can go and admit that you are embarrassed by this. It's rare to have a place where you can say, look, man, it's fucking cringy. I'm embarrassed, man. There's nothing wrong with that. You should be fucking embarrassed by this. It's fucking all the violence on Cinco de Mayo with some people.
It's just shameful. It's very, very shameful.
All the violence on Memorial Day, all the violence on Juneteenth, all the violence on Black Beach Week, White Beach Week.
Juneteenth, that's our thing. But fucking St. Patty's Day.
Pretty much every holiday,
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you would think at least the Prairie Patels would get us on fucking Thanksgiving, or the fucking, the Irish would get us on fucking St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, don't let the Sun Man hear about Denali or nothing like that.
It was us every time.
Off on their food and drink tabs. I spoke with a server who says they want to keep a good reputation and maintain the trust in the community.
Okay, I just want people to know that this is still a safe place to come. Like, just come and enjoy. Everybody in the restaurant, including servers, busboys, cooks, they just want everybody to have a good time, a fun time.
This incident drew a lot of attention on social media from residents. Ahead on WALB News 10 at 6, reactions from customers and what plans the owner has put in place to ensure safety. Alicia Lewis, WALB.
God,
segregation.
everything.
If they want to show peaceful customers, they gotta show glider customers.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I hate that. I really hate that.
Wow, that's crazy. Look at the stories we're doing. I don't even have to say pick a city. It's all here. Everything's here. Look, everything's here. The same shit is here.
Corrupt system, politicians getting
We're
arrested.
working to learn more now about a Lee County
Oh,
state
no, wait, this is
prison
officer,
corrections
never mind.
officer that was arrested, charged with drug trafficking. Tamari Bell was arrested Sunday night about 9:30 by the Lee County Sheriff's Office. Department of
About
Corrections said she
9:30.
refused to have her lunch bag scanned at an X-ray machine, and they found 6 bundles of methamphetamines and tobacco. A search of her vehicle found several additional bundles of contraband. Bell is charged with crossing the guard line with items prohibited, trafficking methamphetamines, and violation of oath of office. She is being held in the Lee County jail.
I mean, it's all here. You don't have to. All you know is there's some people here. So any city that you would recommend, it's here. You have it here. Look at this shit.
Gun violence is top of mind once again. In the past week alone, there was a mass
Here
shooting
too?
in a Texas mall and in an Atlanta medical center.
Now in Moultrie last week, 26-year-old Kentavious White shot and killed his mother and his grandmother and a former co-worker at a McDonald's restaurant. WLB News 10's Ashanti Isaac spoke with the community leaders about how they hope to curb this trend of gun.
I know that McDonald's.
Statistics show that most gun crimes are committed by people under 30 years
Yeah,
old.
that's that fucking son thug he killed his mother and his grandmother, then he went up here and killed his manager. You been here? You probably seen the lady, the white lady, fat white lady he killed in there, man. It's crazy.
I've definitely been down there.
Gun crimes are committed by people under 30 years old, and many likely started carrying guns in their teens.
Yeah,
Now,
smash.
South Georgia community leaders are speaking out, saying it's time to get control of the family.
Often in our region, in Albany, Georgia, our community don't take advantage of these programs.
Victor Powell is a
All the
Yeah, there you go.
programs. So how infuriating does that make? I'm gonna get you in a second, Vladimir. How infuriating does this make you, pro-liberal white, that you have all of this free stuff, loads and loads of free stuff that we're paying for with our tax dollars, and these fucking goddamn jigaboos don't take advantage of it? How does that how does that make you feel that they don't take advantage? No, that they don't take advantage of. Let me just say that they don't take advantage of it, and you're paying for it. They've been begging for it. They've been saying that it's racist not to have it. You pay for it with your tax dollars, and then they don't use it.
Well, it makes me feel sad.
But not angry.
Well, angry too, but mostly sad because it feels like it feels like a waste.
You got all this free stuff down here for these fucking people. You're fucking printing money for this little fucking town. This town is soaking up as much money as a fucking third world country, man.
Does it?
Well, let me tell you, it is pretty inefficient. It runs like a third world country.
Jesus Christ. Go ahead, Glider, man. Go ahead, jump in there, man.
I don't know. You had me at Michael Jackson impersonator punching people out, man. I'm sorry. I just joined in. I mean, these programs are only built as grifts for the people running them. They're not made for the people. They never intended them to work for anybody else. They work great for this guy. This guy has a nice house and a car.
I find it infuriating, the implication that, we somehow live in a racist society where some people can't get a hand up when every city is diluted to the point of flooding with programs that are effectively, for the purpose of serving some people entirely, which are all, leaking money like a sieve.
Yeah, man.
In Albany, Georgia, our community don't take advantage of these programs.
Victor Powell is a pastor and community leader in Albany. He and other pastors hold mentoring programs to keep young people on the right track.
Yeah, but I mean, let me just say this. As bad as this situation is with, with the Sun Man chaos and the quickness to violence, I feel like glider society has its downsides too. Like, for example, if you live in an area with most gliders, like people are more prone to call the cops on you and harass you just for just for doing minor innocuous things, or just if they feel you might be doing something wrong. Because I had that happen to me, and it's like, for me, it's like both societies have their downsides.
So how would you weigh? Would you say they're equal opposites, or would you say that, like, how would you compare the two?
Which neighborhood would you rather live in?
To be honest, I really don't know, because I mean, if I could just tell you really quickly, okay, because here's what happened to me. As you know, I have I have health issues, and sometimes I have to like sit down and just just rest, catch my breath. Well, I was on like a trail, and I just sat down off to the side, and this old white lady, she came up to me and she started like questioning me, like interrogating me, like, what am I doing? Why am I there? And it felt really discriminatory,
Newsflash: gliders are very inquisitive. They like asking
yeah,
questions.
but it's like,
I mean,
I don't want to have to explain myself.
Yeah, you shouldn't necessarily have to. I mean, she could easily have been being a bitch and nosy and whatever. I mean, but it always feels like aggressive when somebody comes up to you and is asking all these questions, and you're not doing anything wrong, right? But as a stance to have in society, I'm not sure that that's like. I'd rather have that than, Cameron next door.
Yo,
he getting his head chopped off, but shit, that don't mean nothing to me. I mean, I would probably move.
Yeah, you.
I mean, well, the
questions,
questions,
my man. But
the questions could be with that. They seem like they would have been harmless. I mean, the lady didn't know. She didn't know who you were. She just see you on a trail. So
See, that's the thing. It felt like it wasn't coming from a good place. Like, if it was coming from a place of genuine concern, like empathy, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. But it was more like, she was itching to call the cops on me, to have me arrested, because I mean, yeah.
What's the black version of that? What's the opposite black version?
How could she have you arrested? You're just sitting on the side of a trail.
Yeah.
Well, she can, but that's thanks to these,
I think you're projecting.
Yeah, did you have some meth on you? Like, what would the cops arrest you on?
Well, see, that's the thing. In this society, they can't. But rewind 100 years, and they could find probable cause. They could say, "Oh, you're loitering," and if I get angry, then they'd be like, "Oh, you're mentally ill. We got to take you to a 72-hour hold." And then they're projecting.
You're projecting.
Yeah, man, you're doing that liberal shit. You would not rather live around Sun people. You would rather live in a place where the cops are being called all the time than a place where if I fucking blow your head off in front of 20 people, no one will fucking cooperate. And your family will fucking come back and fucking clean out your fucking apartment.
They definitely ain't cooperating because you're a glider, like.
And I'll be right there watching you. I'll be out on the block, the guy who killed you, watching your family come and clean out your fucking apartment.
And they be filming you like, you leaking.
Well, see, but then I can just defend myself.
Yeah, but I don't think you could defend yourself against somebody. It's so fucking unpredictable and so brazen. Like for instance, you could have a problem. Like, let's just take me and you, right? I'm a Sun Man, you're a glider, right? And let's just say we're neighbors, right? The problem that I would kill you over, you wouldn't even think it was a problem. You would go to sleep that night thinking nothing was wrong, and I'd be seething, furious. Like you can't compete with that, man.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I can't find a home to rest in. Like I'm very conflicted.
Yeah, man. Whatever. Let's go.
Look, I would rather
you'd be better off in Glider society.
Yeah,
I would rather live somewhere where they call the cops on me because I'm walking on the side of the road and they don't know who I am. I want to live in that place.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you that because I live in a place now where people can go crazy out on the street, beat people in the head, and no cops show up. Okay?
Yeah, man. Let's see.